Hopefully my mic's not too loud. Y'all can let me know in the chat. But I'm going to say good evening to everybody once again. Welcome to the channel. You know it is JJ with you on JJ's PC Builds. And if this is your first time here, hit the, subscribe button. Hit the like button. Don't forget about the notification bell so you know when I post the next video. Today, or tonight, we're going to be talking about ASRock. I know this story keeps coming up for about a couple years now, but we're going to talk about them and we're going to get this story going. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. Okay, as we can see on WCCF Tech, make sure you all check them out, by the way. And we definitely got the big cursor with you guys. So, we're jumping in. Hello there, Mr. Cyborg. Good to see you. And don't forget, guys, don't forget your drink and snacks, by the way. I got mine. So, we got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get this story started. This says, first case of AMD's Ryzen 9 9950X3D failure spotted. CPU dies within 9 days of usage on an ASRock motherboard. You know, I don't like having to give all this bad news. I really want to see some good news, truthfully. But after multiple reports of dead Ryzen 7 9800X3D CPUs on ASRock 800 series motherboards, Ryzen 9 9950X3D seems to have that similar fate. Redditor reported the Ryzen 9950X3D CPU failure on ASRock Pro RS X870, but no visible signs of damage appeared. See, this is why I said we're investigating this tonight. And I'll get you guys' rebuttals in a moment. So let me get through this. We'll save the questions and we'll get them answered. Very recently, ASRock shared its investigation report with users stating that its motherboards didn't apparently cause any damage to the processor, but it could be debris, like dust. I mean, really? They're saying debris. I mean, unless you're throwing chocolate in there, unless you're throwing whatever in there, I mean, that just baffles me. Which was the main culprit in one such of these cases? However, one cannot deny that the processor actually had physical damage, which is a clear sign of burn. Moving on. These cases were mostly related to the 9800X3D, and the largest number of cases emerged from ASRock motherboard owners. Even though ASRock claims to have mitigated the issue by releasing a BIOS update previously. And such reports are still emerging at this time. It's the flagship AMD Ryzen 9 9950X3D processor. This might seem like the first case of failure with that chip, 9950X3D. But apparently it's not. We will talk about it, and we'll talk about that one later. But it seems more interesting for a few reasons. The Redditor posted that his Ryzen 9950X3D died within 9 days of usage on the ASRock Pro RX X870 motherboard. As per his claims, he ran the latest BIOS 3.20 and used the Kingston Fury 64 gigabytes of RAM kit at 6,000 microtransfers. The problem appeared unexpectedly and suddenly. The user didn't claim that he didn't turn on other manual overclocking for CPUs, but said that his PC suddenly froze and would not boot anymore. So as we're moving down, he's showing exhibited wear damage. I don't know about this section right here, because I'll tell you what, this is going right across some capacitors and resistors. Could be that one of these components got knocked off the board. I'm not going to speculate on it, but I can tell you the wear marks right here shows, and we don't see the other side, so we can't tell you exactly, but it shows that it lines up right here. But this looks like more like a pencil mark to me, because it would show wear here and wear over here, but it just shows it right here. It makes no sense. So, hello machine, good to see you. I got on yeah, good to see you, my friend. What's interesting is that the CPU did not show any damage signs, but it's likely the CPU died and had not the main board. Why would the main board not die if the CPU dies? That would hit the VRM so hard. If there was a short, guys, let's go backwards a little bit. If there was a short on the substrate of the CPU, that would toast out those VRMs. That would. I mean, we're going to stop right here in the story because something smells fishy. So, well, I don't know, Cyborg. Some don't sound right. I don't think it sounds right to me. Okay, machine, no problem. We'll be on here for a while, man. You know, I know you're about close to getting out of work anyway, so it's all good. So, but something sounds dodgy, guys. Truthfully, something sounds dodgy. I mean, let's just finish out the story, I guess, and then we'll talk more about it. Okay, so what is interesting is that his CPU didn't show any damage signs, but it's likely the CPU died and not the motherboard, because the user did try turning the system by installing his CPU on another motherboard for a different vendor, but that also didn't work. Per his claim, there was no explosion, no burn marks, no signs of damage to the socket either. In this case, you are wondering if the CPU was running hot. He confirmed that the temperature was fine as well. Oh, man. This sounds like it's snowballing into something. Let's finish this up. Since his seller offers a 14-day return window, he was able to send it back to the seller without having to dive into the RMA process, which would have been quite tedious. Going back to what was apparently the first case of the 9950X3D failure, it wasn't on an ASRock motherboard, but on an Asus. Oh, he loved this drama. It was on an Asus X870E crosshair, and apparently it died the same way, silently leaving no signs of physical damage. The motherboard was working with the 9600X, though, and therefore there seems to be something off with the 9000X3D processors, at least in these two cases. Okay, so that's pretty much all I got on that story. So, the way it looks to me is that it's not ASRock that was having a problem with the 9950X3D. Okay, down at the bottom of the story, them telling us it was on an Asus X870E crosshair motherboard. So that's very interesting to find that out. So, guys, this investigation's not here to drive ASRock underneath the bus. This is to get to the heart of the story and find out what the real reason is. So that way, when you guys go and buy a new motherboard, at least you know what motherboard not to buy. So, in this instance, it seems all the X3D processors seem to be having a problem. So, that's the reason why I never went with the 9800X3D. 9700X is rolling primo. So, yeah, but machine, what if it was a brand new motherboard? We don't know the specifications of this. What if it was a brand new motherboard and he just put the CPU into the socket and he closed the arms?
Okay.
You know. Yes, sir. I'm just trying to answer your question. You'd agree or disagree with me? That has a lot. That CPU has a lot of wear mark. That's the problem. And that means he's popped it in and out of more than one motherboard. You know?
So, I have the things that pop into my brain.
Yes, sir.
About this.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is things I don't know about BIOS. You can help me out here. So, if he had the 9600X on there before, right?
Yeah.
So, before you install an X3D, you've got to update your BIOS. Was the BIOS updated?
Not necessarily.
Right?
Not necessarily. Well, yeah. With the 800 series, some 800 series motherboards, yes, you have to update the BIOS. Yes.
You have to update the BIOS to get So if he didn't update the BIOS, the system wouldn't know it's an X3D chip.
No.
Now, if he had his system overclocked on the 9600, and you throw in another CPU, is it going to overclock it the same way? Or does it just stay with it, or does it know there's a new chip in there and it just sets things back to standard?
That's a good question. With some
the 9600X clocks a lot higher than the X3D does.
Right.
So,
Okay.
But he said there was no damage, so if it was burnt out, then it probably would have shown signs of that, correct?
Yeah, it would have shown signs of overheating on the case, but from what this looks like here, it looks like it's been in and out of more than one motherboard.
Could there be a, like, I don't know, it just, something doesn't seem right.
See, because you can see the dirt impressions on the processor. Okay,
Right.
That's the thing. You can see the dirt impressions on the processor. So, with the way he had it positioned, nine out of 10 chances that this CPU's been in more than one motherboard. Okay, what happens usually sometimes is you'll get a bent pin taking it in and out of motherboards because the pins are really sensitive. But this is just speculation. This is not like I know it and it is what it is. No. Sometimes when you take this kind of CPU in and out all the time, you'll get a bent pin on the motherboard, and it'll cause it not to post.
Right.
Even though that it doesn't have any burn marks or anything else, it could just be one pin that he's not seeing, and it's bent a little bit enough to where it's not making contact and it's not letting the CPU post.
Yeah, I mean, the only way to know for sure is if he videotaped him putting it in.
Right.
Because, I don't know, like, it's just...
It's fishy.
I don't know.
That's what I say. It's fishy. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a fishing expedition, brother.
It's very interesting. Well, it's a good topic for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm just saying. They're calling out ASRock about the 9950X3D and the 9800X3D, but this doesn't seem like it's a cause of an ASRock motherboard, for which they stated it was an ASUS motherboard, 800 series ASUS motherboard. So this right here, this takes ASRock off the hook, I would say.
So let's say you take, because I'm curious. Let's say, like, I'm running my 7700X, right? And I decide I want to run a 9900X3D. If I don't update the BIOS and put that chip in there, what happens?
If you don't update the BIOS, the motherboard cannot read the processor, and the processor won't fire up at all. It just basically it'll sit there.
So it won't kill the processor.
No, it won't kill.
It'll just be like unrecognized. Right, and it'll go back into BIOS being like, I don't know what this is.
Yes, it's right? Unrecognized hardware.
Okay, so that can't be it. But I'm wondering if you do change out, and it does recognize it, does it go back to stock settings, or if there's an overclock, does it try to hit the same clocks?
Usually, if you have a pre-existing overclock put into your motherboard, 9 out of 10 chances that overclock is going to carry over to the next CPU.
Yeah, because that'll burn that up real quick because it doesn't run
Yep.
at higher clocks that runs higher clocks than the 9700X.
That's why it's always
Not by a whole lot.
That's why it's always recommended that you take, before you remove your original processor, that you go back into the BIOS and set it back to stock before you remove the chip.
It just makes sense. It takes all the question marks out.
Yes, that does.
It doesn't say that they did that.
No, it doesn't.
So, it's just weird. Because I know the X3D chips are kind of sensitive to heat and all that.
Yeah.
So it probably surged power through it, and then he blew some 3D part.
He probably blew up something either on the substrate going to the CPU transistors, or he could have bent a pin inside of the socket, which he did not show. They didn't show any sockets, so
he didn't show the pins either, did he?
No, It just showed from what I'm seeing here, the only thing I'm seeing is the CPU.
That's weird. Because I'd want to show as many pictures as I could. So, and if the socket's dirty as well, that could cause a problem as well, right? So if you have a piece of lint in there, or anything in the socket itself, you put that in there, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, of course.
It has to be completely clean.
Exactly.
But that would leave a mark, though, if that caused a problem, correct?
In the socket, if
yeah,
like
a piece of lint went in there or something, or a piece of hair, would that leave like a little strand of heat, a heat mark or a burn mark, or would that just maybe not?
Not unless it's liquid intensified. But a piece of hair is not going to burn like that because it's unless the follicle's like wet, then it would be conductive. But if it's not, if lint, even
so
lint,
it'll just burn
it's
and
non-conductive.
then disintegrate.
No, it's just non-conductive. It just won't allow your CPU to make connection.
Okay.
It'll basically put pressure on the pin if you got a piece of lint in there, and it won't make connection to that pin. Now, if it's just a typical ground pin, they have many ground pins in there. If you get lint on a ground pin, you don't need to sweat it. It's going to happen. But when you get it on a hot pin, and you got no connection on a hot pin, then basically your motherboard's going to read it. There's no CPU there, and it's not going to fire up.
Okay. So
then you got to travel backwards to fix the issue that's at hand in the socket. So.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this would be an interesting one for you guys tonight. And Cyborg, I do understand, Cyborg, you saying that ASRock motherboards are not all that cherry picked and good going. But Mr. Machine here has an ASRock motherboard. He's running it with an X series processor. He's not running X3D. He's using an X series processor. There's nothing wrong with ASRock motherboards and X series processors. It's only the X3Ds.
And the 9000 series.
Yes.
The 9000.
That's it.
Particular. Yeah, 7000. There hasn't been any issues that I've ever read.
No, I haven't read many either.
It's just for some reason the 9000 series has given them a hard time, and I think they fixed them except for the X3D, the 3Ds.
Yeah.
It's the only thing they're having a hard time with.
Yeah,
but all manufacturers are having a hard time with the X3Ds.
Yeah. It's not just ASRock, it's Asus. You got MSI's having a problem with it. You got I heard a couple Gigabyte motherboards having a problem with it, and and the tree goes on. So
I just hope that I would, if I had an X3D, I wouldn't overclock it ever.
Yeah,
overclock
true.
That kind of card. I would never. I wouldn't even know how to work one of those.
Right.
Because I'd be scared of heat with those with the X3D chips.
Right.
Sorry. Keep going, Jay. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, no, Cyborg's right. He could have been overclocking it, bro. Even if there was a tiny bit of hair in there or whatever, and it wasn't like pushing on the connection pins, then that wouldn't have caused the problem.
Yeah, it would have just failed. The CPU would have failed to recognize.
But what I'm looking at right here is with the mark that's on the right side. I'll take you guys back there so you can look at it again. Right here. Let's blow it up a little bit. Let's make it a little bit bigger. You never know what you see until you make it bigger.
Could there have been a contact short somewhere?
No.
Static discharge?
Look right here where I got my finger pointing.
Oh, I can't see the video.
Well, you will soon.
Okay.
Well,
I saw it for a second, but there's that line going through, and then at the very bottom, on the right, you see the transistors there, or whatever those things are.
Capacitors.
And they look like they're melted a little bit. right?
These are capacitors. They don't look like
Capacitor.
they're in line.
Yeah, it looks like they melted a little bit or something.
Looks like somebody messed with these.
Mm.
I know from doing electronics, I can tell when somebody messes with something, and you can see a couple of them. Looks like somebody tried to resolder them back onto the PCB for the CPU. That's just my opinion.
So he never got it to work,
Well,
right?
I think he said he got it to work, but it didn't work that long.
That's weird. Because they test these things before they bring them out, right? Before they fix
Yes,
them.
yes, they QC check them. See, they QC check them at the factory, and they QC check them again. They're supposed to QC check them twice before they hit the shelf.
Okay.
At least twice.
Hmm. This is interesting.
And you know that motherboard we got?
Hmm.
They're talking about it right now. No, that's an ASRock Challenger. Never mind. But the MSI motherboard, a lot of people are talking about that's a really good budget motherboard that I picked up. So, yeah. I mean, hell, it's an ASRock mother. I mean, not an ASRock, it's an MSI motherboard.
That's high.
So, yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I'm
so,
probably gonna get a MSI when I go over my next build.
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. There's a couple minor problems with the motherboard that's resolvable. I can resolve that. That's not a problem. But it seems that, they might need to do another BIOS update for the PBO.
Okay.
Because it seems that the PBO was crashing the L cache.
That's not good.
No, it was taking away half of the L cache. If you mess with
So that's really bad.
if you mess with the
especially on the X3D chips.
yeah, if you mess
That would
with
be
if you mess with the
devastating.
if you mess with the PPT, the TDC, or the EDC, it causes that. So for right now, it's best to leave it on auto, and it doesn't mess with it, and you don't lose your L cache. So
Okay. Interesting.
I figured everybody wanted to know that too. So
Yeah.
after 9 days, yeah, Cyborg's right. 9 days it crapped out, man. He ran it for 9 days, and in 9 days you can do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a lot of destruction with the 9950 X3D.
Yep.
In
so
9
if you tried to
days.
overclock it.
He claims the motherboard was okay.
It's just weird.
I don't know.
Power
I
spike
mean,
with the,
I agree
would it
with
be
you.
a power spike with the PSU, or not enough power if its PSU can't run it.
Well, they never
Is
mentioned
that cause a problem?
they never mentioned the PSU.
Yeah. So if he had a 9600X, which doesn't take as much power as he went to a 9050X 3D, right? 9950X.
Yeah, he went to a 9950 X3D, but if he's running a 9600X, 9600X on an 800 series motherboard, especially the one he ran it on, the motherboard, the Asus X870E Crosshair, that's not a cheap motherboard neither.
It's not.
But he claims the 9600X runs fine on it, so there's no problem with the motherboard.
What GPU is he using?
I don't know. I don't think that was mentioned.
So, because now I'm wondering about the power supply. So a surge. So if he doesn't have enough power to run that and whatever graphics card he's got, and let's say it runs out, will it try to surge? Will it try to pull the power from the PSU?
If he ran on, let's say, if he ran on the integrated graphics, and he was just running the 9950X 3D, he would need no more than 650 watts for that.
But what if he's trying to run like a 5070 and that chip on 600 watt power supply?
Even with 650, you'll still have enough. At a 5070, yes. But now a 5070 Ti, no.
But what? So if there was a power surge and he lost power in the middle of something,
they would have killed the motherboard
the
first.
Trying to get power, it'll kill the motherboard. It'll kill the motherboard first before
yes.
before the CPU.
Yes, because it goes through the protections of the motherboard.
Sorry, I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, it has to go through the protections of the motherboard, so it would have killed the motherboard first before it did the chip. See, that's the thing. You get a massive surge, it goes through the motherboard first, and the motherboard protects the CPU. Some 50-50 chance it'll protect the CPU, the RAM, and the SSDs. Okay?
Okay.
If it's a light surge. Now, if it was a heavy surge, then you might have taken everything out, including the graphics card. If you had one plugged in. It doesn't say whether
the rest of his stuff is still functional, right?
On a heavy surge, no.
No. The rest of his equipment is still functional.
Obviously it is. He says his motherboard's functional, so that means if his motherboard's functional, everything else is functionable.
Okay, yeah, obviously. Yeah, because if RAM was out, he wouldn't be able to, he wouldn't go into Windows.
What this is looking to me like, it's a BIOS update.
Yeah. Yeah.
Truthfully, it's looking like a BIOS update. Even though I seen those pins kind of, or those capacitors kind of off a little bit, you know, they still look connected to me. So it's a 50-50 chance the capacitors were fine and the motherboard wasn't updated by the factory for the 9950X3D. Got to remember, the 9950X3D came out after these motherboards, so it's 9 out of 10 chances he had to do a BIOS update, and the only way he can get his motherboard to work for now is by the 9600X, which would have been out at the time of this motherboard. So
he doesn't say what BIOS he's running currently?
Well, he said the latest BIOS was 3.20.
That's what? January, February, March?
If it's anything past March or April, then he would have had the 9000 series update.
That was in January. The 9950 X3D update was in January, but they had updates for those after that.
Right. That's why I was saying around April.
Mm-hmm.
April or May.
Okay. It's just interesting. This is actually a really, really good story.
Yeah, it is.
Solving story.
It's a very good problem solving story for the fact that this happened to somebody else, and that, you know, people are going to wonder if the Asus motherboard is going to be up to the task of the 9950X3D. Now, the 870E, the X870E crosshair should definitely had enough VRM power to push that 9950X3D.
I agree, 100%. That should have been fine.
But if you remember before on Gamers Nexus, when he did the burning video, that was with an Asus motherboard, and that was with the 9800 or the 7800X3D or the 7950X3D, somewhere in there. It seems like that Asus has not learned their lesson when it comes to the X3D processors. And this is not pushing the blame on them. It's just they probably didn't know. Well, they should have known from the 7000 series. So if there's a problem on an Asus motherboard with the 9000 series, it's not just ASRock that's got the problem. It's Asus as well. This is point blank facts. Because if the motherboard's working on an X series processor, then yeah, it's a motherboard issue. This is a motherboard issue. So That's the reason why I said those X3D processors, I ain't even going to mess with. I'm not going to monkey with those. The X processors, like the 9700X, is good enough. I think it's good enough. It rocks like it needs to. Sorry, guys, it rocks. So, and I've been testing the 9700X on an MSI motherboard, and it's the X, or no, it's the, I almost said X. It's the B850 -P Pro Wi-Fi motherboard. It's not the B850 Plus. It's the B850-P Pro Wi-Fi motherboard. It's the cheaper one, but it does good, especially with the 9700X. I've been on and off all day rocking games. I picked up a new game. It was free. It was like an adventure game. You know, we'll talk about that later, Machine. So it might be something. It might be something your wifey might be interested in because it's an adventure game. I don't like too much the personal shooter games. I like the adventure games myself. So, you know, that's just me rocking it. You know what I'm saying? His eardrums filled full of wifey. I could hear the wifey in there. Yeah, if you're going to make spaghetti, put meatballs in there the size of big grapefruits, you know, and I'll be happy. You know. So, yeah.
Thanks, boss.
But when it comes down to the end of the day, I'm not bashing the motherboard because he got it up and running with the 9600X. The motherboard didn't fail.
That's a big upgrade.
Yeah. You think? So, if he upgraded from that to that, 9 in 10 chances he had something inside of the pins. It could have been hold on a second. Oh, all right, guys. Sorry about that.
That partner might not know cuss words or anything. He's gonna learn them.
Oh yeah, that dog will learn sooner or later. She knows when she sees me riled up. She knows to hide underneath that blanket. So, but yeah, I mean, guys, I'm not. This is not a bashing of ASRock. Okay, ASRock motherboards will work with the X series processors. If they don't work with the X3D processors, then don't buy them. If you're going to buy it for X processor, Machine's been running on one all this time, and he hasn't had one lick of issues. And that's a 600 series motherboard. Now, I'm gonna lay something on you guys, and I hope you hear me on this, and it's not bad. But it seems AMD is going to turn around and discontinue the 600 series motherboards for their AMD processors. They're pushing it up and above to the 800 series. So, as much as you guys love the 600 series motherboards, don't be surprised if they start fading away and the prices start going up.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed I can barely contain myself.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just giving you the heads up so that way you guys know. That's what's going to be coming down the pipeline very soon, if it's not already came down the pipeline. So, hey DV, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. You need to say queso tacos with meatballs. That'll work. You know, you take a tortilla, you put some queso in there, you put some, slice up some meatballs in there, slap it together, grill it, and there you go.
Yeah, she's gonna make some meatball sandwiches with some pepperoni on them.
Oh man, I'm jealous now. I'm definitely jealous now. So,
and we're gonna have fajitas and everything.
So when it comes to it, I'm not, like I told you guys, this is not a bashing of ASRock. This is not a bashing of Asus or nothing. It's the X3D processors. They got problems with them. You know, oh, got an itch too. X3D processors got a problem with them. We can't get around the truth. It's right in front of us. We can't get around the truth. You know, maybe there's some miscommunication with AMD to ASRock or AMD to Asus. You don't know. We don't know. Last time I heard it was a communication problem with the 7000 series. So, new products, you're going to expect to have a couple bumps here and there, but seems like it's not a large amount of people that are having this problem. It seems like it's very limited to either user error or something like that. But who knows? We don't know, because we can speculate and we can leave our opinions, but for facts, we don't know for facts unless I'm emailed, you know, the facts from the person that's claiming this. That's the only way I'm going to know. So, but in the other hand, I'm not really going to worry too much about it. So, let's look at the facts and fiction. We're moving ourselves away from fiction now because things are going to get tight in the pricing of PC parts. Now, I'm going to move this over here for a moment. When the prices start getting more unreasonable, everybody's going to start complaining and everything else, and it's just going to be another mess when it comes to the price to performance. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. Do not expect price to performance anytime soon. Price to performance hasn't been sought since last year. Since, September of last year? So, the price to performance has been out the window. Basically, you're paying for aesthetics. Everybody says, well, you're paying for the name. Yeah, you might be paying for that too. So, when it comes to the end of the day, ASRock motherboards will be fine on X series processors. I like the X series processors. Some people don't, but I love them because I don't have to go through that initial headache with the X3D processor being slammed underneath. You got your 3D you got your L cache at the bottom, then they slam everything on top of it and then try to disperse the heat off the top. But what about the heat from the transistors going downwards? It's where everybody forgets it. They forget heat can disperse from 360 degrees all the way around. So, you know, that kind of brings, that's funny, machine, you know, that kind of brings me to thinking about this conclusion. Is that what if the heat from the transistors are leaking down through the L cache and leaking out the bottom, causing shorts?
What are you using to cool it with?
You can't. You got your pins, you got the motherboard pins, and on top of that you got the substrate for the CPU. And on top of that, you got your L cache, and then on top of that, you got your transistors, and on top of that, you got the IHS and dispersed. But what if the heat is traveling through the L cache and heat soaking the PCB all the way through onto the pins and causing it to heat up a lot hotter than what it's supposed to be? What if?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they melted to me. Like, looks like heat to me.
It kind of sounds like that the heat is leaking through the L cache, and it's burning the substrate, the PCB on the CPU die.
Oh.
Heat disperses in 360 degrees, so it could burn down, or the pins could be emitting static electric charge. The vibration of the fans causing it to do this, causing the static in between the pins. That's one thing. The heat leaking down from the transistors, that's another thing. Could be a combination of a bunch of things leading to one big problem that they haven't figured out yet. So.
But does it tell you what AIO he was using?
No. Didn't leave no.
Would you need a different one for the 9950X3D than you would for the 9600X?
If you used a 9950X3D, it would have been wise to use like 360 or 480.
Yeah, but can you air cool the 9600X? I don't think you can. Well, you can with the beefy one.
The 9950X3D, you have to cool with either could go 360, could go 420.
Okay.
Depending on the size of your case and how much airflow you got in your case, that's going to matter too. But if you got like a small, if you got a small form factor and it's really tight and you're putting it in there and you don't have enough airflow with that AIO cooler, then it's, you're going to heat soak that CPU like crazy. That's why it's not.
Yeah, I would never do it on my board.
Yeah, it's not recommended to put it in a small case. Big CPUs are not meant for small cases. Everybody says different, but yeah, they're always the ones that always say different are the ones that are usually crying about the fact of their CPU burning up because they didn't listen the first time. It's a vicious cycle, man. So my point on this is this. I'm not knocking WCCF Tech for starting it off with putting ASRock on the front page, because that's basically like their hook. Everybody knows that, ASRock's been having a problem with the X3D processors in the 9000 series. But this is an 800 series motherboard. Now, who's not off the hook just yet with me is ASUS. I have an ASUS motherboard in this one right here. I have an MSI motherboard in this one. This one does better than that one. I don't know why, but it does. And I've already put the screws to this one. I still got a couple more screws I'm going to put to this MSI motherboard to get it working better. So, guys, if you're going to buy a CPU, buy an X series CPU. Leave the X3D alone. You could buy a 9950X and still get half the cash and be happy with it.
Yep.
I mean,
I concur.
at least with the X series processor, you don't have to worry about the cache being underneath the
Yep.
the transistors. So I don't know, you guys tell me your thoughts. I'm always watching the chat. If you guys are going to say something in the chat, say something in the chat. But I can tell you right now, if you're going to buy an X3D processor, God bless you. That's about $600 or $700 that you just pissed out the window. Until I see AMD stepping up and stepping in and saying, okay, we're going to fix this problem, and they're going to work together with the other manufacturers like ASRock and all the companies. Until I see them stepping in and start working with the companies, and I start hearing good reports that they're fixing this issue, I'm not going to blame ASRock for all this going on. This is really a part of AMD issue too. Because you don't hear this happening. Have we heard this happen about Intel processors other than the Raptor Lake?
No, Coin hasn't had any issues that I know of.
So, no. That's what it comes down to. That's what you have to look at. Well, see, DV, that's where I disagree with you. It is the simple fact that under the 9000 series processors, not the 7000, the 9000 series, they put the V cache or the L cache. It's L cache. It's CPU. It's the L cache. Now, if it was for your graphics card, it would be V cache, but it's L cache for the CPU. They put the cache underneath the secondary CCD for the 9950X3D, which is true. They didn't put it under the first CCD, they put it under the second CCD. But people go in and they monkey with Windows and they turn off the scheduler, and they have all the cores going willy-nilly, even at idle. That's what they don't say. They don't say that. They don't say that they have all the CPU cores going at the same time. And they're getting like, what? Close to maybe 5 gigahertz all core, all 16 of them. Which, that would be impossible. It'd have to be around the 4s to have that happen. But you get the point. I mean, I've heard many people doing that and they turn off the scheduler. I know I've done that once or twice. But turning it off and having all the cores go at the same time, and when you hit it with a game or anything else, it's going to hit that CPU hard. It's going to be like driving a nail through the center of it. And they're going to be drawing a lot of power. And I mean a serious amount of power. So, but I do understand where you're saying, but that's in the case of the 7000 series, not in the case of the 9000 series. 9000 series was redesigned because they allowed overclocking on the 9950X3D and the 9900X3D and the 9800X3D. They allowed overclocking. So, at the end of the day, who's to say that this was not, this was or wasn't overclocked? Who's to say it was or wasn't? I mean, truthfully. So keep that in mind. And if you do got an X3D processor and you're not having problems with it, then that's cool. That is cool. So, I don't know. You guys telling me. As far as my testing going, the 9700X is primo enough for me. It games. I'm not going to cry about it. It games. It content creates. It does everything I need. It fills all three buckets. If I want the business side, it'll fill that bucket. If I want content creating, it'll fill that bucket. And it'll fill gaming. It'll fill that bucket. All three buckets. That's the reason why I got the X processor in the first place. Now, if you get the X3D processors, the first thing you're going to have a problem with is content creating. Some people say, oh, it's real good on content creating. Yeah, it's real good, okay. So, when you're editing a video, yeah, it's going to be really good for the CPU because you're going to be running on H.264. To edit your video, not unless you run AV1 encoding and you have a backup program for that, and then you run, when you're editing your video, it's all in AV1. That's a different story. You're using your graphics card, not your CPU. So keep that in mind too. And with the V cache or the L cache, you guys are not using up all of it on the X3D chips anyway. They had some article a while back there, machine, that they're only using like 75% of the cache that's on the CPU. The rest of it's being buffered through the system RAM. So don't think you're using everything of your L cache. You're not. Most of it's being buffered through your system RAM. Especially if you got system RAM fast enough, which we know how that works. So, as long as you got fast system RAM, that L cache doesn't really do you much justice. Especially processing with the CPU. And it relies more heavily on your system RAM, your system RAM compared to your L cache. I mean, 100 megabytes can be filled up really quick. But when you got system RAM that's like 32 gigabytes to 64 gigabytes, which one's bigger? Does that make sense there, machine? You're still driving, aren't you? Uh-oh, Mr. Machine's driving. So. But guys, understand this. And I know everybody wants to get their hands on an X3D processor. You guys think it's the shiz. But I'm gonna put something right here. Wait until they come out with Zen 6 and Zen 7. I think that's what I'm more looking forward to. That will be way more than I'm looking forward to, if the price is right. Hello there, Dare. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome to the live stream, by the way. So you're saying you got the 9950X3D. and an ASUS ROG, if I'm reading that right, Extreme 360 millimeter AIO. Should I be worried? I don't overclock anything. I'm not educated enough to try it. Okay, I have a 360 millimeter AIO cooler in mind. With the 9700X, it barely keeps up. And I got everything going at 100%. So, if you're not overclocking, okay, if you're not overclocking, my friend, you should be okay. Welcome back there, Mr. Machine. As soon as he figures where his mic is, you know, how that works. But anyway, I really wouldn't be worried about it. I really wouldn't be worried about it. Especially if you're going to stay at stock. I mean, the only thing that I found out at stock is the temperature kind of went up to like 75 degrees in this case. But my old PC had the B550 was only doing 51 in the case. So it's a little bit different. You might have to think about undervolting a little bit, but not much. So when are SSDs going to come down in price? They're not. They're going, and they're going to be going up. But Darity, I'm going to tell you something. Give it a shot. Make sure you got the right thermal paste. Do not use that metal crap. Use a good thermal paste like the Arctic. I use the Arctic MX4. It's non-metallic thermal paste. I'm always gonna stand behind non-metallic thermal paste. I'm always gonna stand behind it because I feel it's the best. But if you got everything in the right position, you got enough airflow coming into your case, and you got enough airflow going out of your case, and it's like a whirlwind in there, and it's just taking that heat right out, I don't think you're going to have much of a problem with a 360 millimeter AIO. I really don't. Not unless you're pushing it to the extreme and you're like trying to pump every little bit of juice out of your CPU. But you said you're going to run it at stock. Even at stock, you might have to look at some of your settings, and you might have to set, do a little bit of a PBO curve kind of thing, bringing down the voltage a little bit, so this way the heat will be managed very well. That's pretty much what I did. I did a negative PBO curve at about, right now I'm only at negative 15 in the BIOS, and when it comes to the voltage, I kind of brought the voltage down 100 millivolts as well to balance the two out so I can get the heat under control. But I have a 9950X 3D with the 420 millimeter AIO running at stock, and it works great at stock or at OC. Well, there you go. You got another person running 9950X 3D. I'm running 9700X, but I run it a different way. But take it from the man. He's running 9950X 3D, and he says he's using a 420 millimeter AIO, not a 360. That extra fan might help. And welcome to the live stream there, Soup. Good to see you. So I heard RAM and SSDs are going up in price. Yes, which is true. I heard the same thing. I am using an MSI Tomahawk 670E. Nice. Well, just remember when AMD starts kicking away from the 600 series on the motherboards and they're going to be going for the 800 series, this means they're going to be moving towards maybe a new motherboard. When they start doing stuff like this and they start mentioning to people and putting a little bit of feelers out there, letting people know that they're moving away from the 600 series and they're moving on to the 800 series, means they're coming out with a new socket soon. They might just come out with the new socket and they might launch AM6 and AM7 together, and they just might go full out, and that's what I'm waiting to see. $11 fans, not including the 5090. Wow. I got 7, but I might need to get a different case to put like 4 extra in. I was thinking about doing 13 or 14, but this is only like a 9700X. I shouldn't need no more than 7, not including the fans on the GPU. So, yeah, I see your point. It's a wind. Yeah, you're right, it is. It's a big tunnel. Cool air coming in, it's just coming in and going right out the top. Right now, the air's mild, and I always keep one of these thermal meters on my hands and looking at the center of the case. That's it. So as you can see, the center of my case is looking real good. I always pointed towards the center of the case. That's where the most heat is generated. Especially with having a wind tunnel in there. You don't want the wind tunnel to do this and cause that repetitious motion like a convection oven. You want the air to come in and go out. You don't want it to sit in the center and act like a convection oven. You really don't want that to happen. So that's just my 2 cents on that, guys. The 5090 puts out crazy heat. I would imagine. I got the 4070. I'm happy with the 4070, and I'm not going to go any further than that for right now. I'll tell you guys why. If I can game on the 4070, I've been, gaming on it for a couple years now?
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. So, I haven't given up on it. Now that I added a bigger CPU to it, now it's giving it a little bit more of a push. It's giving my SSDs a bigger push. Going from AM4 to AM5. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with it. It's pretty much holding up to my standards. Pretty much. I'm almost there. I got a little bit more tuning to do, but I'll have it up to my standards very shortly. So. But as far as Darity, you got your answer about your 360 millimeter AIO. Is it going to be enough? Mr. Soup claims that it's not going to be enough. So, It could be if you're just running it really light, but if you're doing intensive graphic work and stuff like that, it'd be best to go to a 420. That's what the man's claiming. I'm going to take his word for it and just say go to a 420. You know, usually somebody that's been testing it quite a while and they say, hey, you know, I've been testing it quite a while and this is my claim of what I have going on in my system, and, you know, they usually say that, then they're usually 100% correct on what they're talking about. So, me, I can't tell you on it, but I can tell you this. It's always good to have a little bit of extra cooling. Am I wrong, Mr. Machine? It's always good to have a little. It's always good to have that little extra bit of cooling. That's for sure. Top case exhaust doing its job. Yep. I have an upgrade problem. I sell all my old parts on Facebook Marketplace. Huh. I started looking at Facebook Marketplace. You're selling some good stuff, you know. Yes, Cyborg, I do agree. I do agree with you on that 100%. Oh, okay, Soup, you think it'd be okay at stock? That's cool.
No overclocky.
Look, there ain't nothing wrong with refurbished. If you get it from the right vendor and you get some kind of warranty, ain't nothing wrong with refurbished, man. Ain't nothing wrong with it. As long as you know what you're getting yourself into, that's what matters even more, you know. But like I said, guys, I'm not here bashing ASRock or Asus or none of the companies. I'm just posting this news and looking through that news, and I know Machine's been talking to me about that news. We both of us find it kind of fishy. Simple as that. There's too much of a fishing expedition with that whole story. I'm not going to say it's facts or fiction right now, because if WCCF Tech is reporting on it, they must have some kind of inside scoop. But there's some, I'm just going to say, guys, there's just some pieces missing. Some of the important pieces that you need to know. So. Oh, you've been rocking it for 2 years on the refurb? That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as it works. As long as you're happy with it, that's what matters. So, I understand. Everybody's going to have that hardship feeling because they're sitting there, you know, got everybody and his brother going into everybody's ear and saying, you know, ASRock's bad when it comes to their motherboard and stuff like that. But Mr. Machine has an ASRock motherboard with an X series processor, and he's been rocking it for a long time on it. Now, if he's not having no problem with the next processor, so it narrows it down just to the X3D. But you can rock the X processor with great gaming too. So don't count their motherboards out just because you hear the problem with an X3D. Doesn't mean that they're going to have a problem with... I haven't heard no problems as of yet with the X series processors on ASRock motherboards. Have not heard a peep. So this tells you where the problem is, and it lies between AMD and ASRock, or AMD and Asus, or Gigabyte, or MSI, either one. All those companies been having problems. So I'm not going to knock it on ASRock totally, because all the rest of them been having the same problem. They just been keeping it covered up. That's all they've been doing. So, but you know what? They'll fix it, and it's between AMD and it's between the rest of those AIB partners to fix the problem. Who suffers because of that? The consumer. Because they want an X3D processor, but they can't get it because guess what? Guess why they have so many problems? Is because they never resolved the problem in the first place. So, yeah, I wouldn't blame you on that, Soup. That's for sure. I agree. I have Corsair LPX system RAM in this computer here. Over on this side, I got the Clev, the new stuff. It's been running pretty good as well. On overclocking on both the Corsair and the Clev, it's been real good. So I'm not disappointed with the overclocking on the system RAM. So yeah, this one it's you got to fine tune it to get the RAM to play nice. If you want to make it up to like 62 or 6400 megahertz. So, but it will play nice. I will tell you that. Sooner or later. But as long as you keep your BIOS up to date, Mr. Machine, we're going to have to talk about that too. Okay. Just had to check my mail real quick in case I got a love letter and I needed to know about it. But they're good with the warranty. Oh, okay. Well, as long as they keep up with the warranty, that'll be the good thing. But if they start cheaping out on the warranty and throwing, that's where I would have a problem with that. Especially if you buy a brand new motherboard and they cheap out and they send you a refurbished and it's supposed to be brand new. I'll be calling them up like yesterday and telling them, guess what? You guys messed up. Here's the numbers. I want a brand new motherboard now. That's what the warranty is a part of. To make sure I have a brand new motherboard. If one craps out, they better send me a brand new one. But if you pay a good decent price for refurbished and you know that the motherboard's not beaten up or the CPU or whatever parts in your system, as long as it's not beaten up, you should be fine. That is the problem. That's why people can't figure out what's better, used or new. When you go to eBay and you start looking at their prices and then you're looking at new prices, you're looking at the old prices, you look at it and say, what the hell? You get a 30-day warranty over here with, eBay, but you get 5-year warranty over here with Amazon or Newegg or, even Micro Center if you do it right. That's the way I look at it for sure. So, but with warranty claims, I had never had a problem with any company. Never. I always get on the horn with them, talk with them for a little bit. Never had any problem with any warranty returns. Nothing, guys. So, I understand if people have problem with the warranty and stuff. Usually because, here's the catch. When you do a warranty claim, some people wait 2 weeks to follow up with the warranty claim. Instead of following up and giving them like 3 to 5 days of mail time, and then after that following up with them daily. See, if they see you're concerned about your products and you want to get them back in new condition, then you're going to follow up after the 5-day rule. So, what do you think, Mr. Machine? You tell me for a couple minutes. What do you got?
Nothing. I just, if it were me, I was making a purchase and I wanted a 16 core, I would get the 9950X.
Right.
On X3D, even for gaming. But from what I understand is when you're gaming on on the 9950X or the X3D, it only uses 8 cores to game with. The rest of them are for other tasks. If I'm correct, I might be wrong.
It's scheduled for that, but it doesn't mean it has to do that. It means you can turn off all your background tasks, and you can dedicate all 16 cores to whatever task is at hand.
You can't do that with the 12 core, can you?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
It's
so
a
the 16 core is 2 TCDs.
Yeah, still you can do the same thing. You can dedicate all the
Okay.
cores to whatever you want to do.
Okay.
But you have to be a wizard in the registry in order to do that. See, it just doesn't work it on itself. You got to know the registry hacks in order, tweaks, not hacks, tweaks. You got to know the registry tweaks in order for you to get all the cores to work without sleeping. If you can do that and keep them going without sleeping, then you won't be into an issue. The issue is when they sleep and you go to reenact them, there's a delay. There's a very bad latency penalty delay from when they sleep till when they wake back up. That's the problem. So enthusiasts usually go around that problem by keeping them all active. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I know all my cores remain active on my CPU because of the simple fact, if I got 16 cores, I want, within the matter of a split hair second, I want it to be like boom. I want it like clockwork. I don't want us to be waiting all day just to get 8 of the 16 cores to turn on. That basically usually what happens. They'll remain off and you just rock with 8 cores. And when you do that, you don't even touch into the L cache, which is on the second CCD. So in order to use the L cache on the secondary CCD, you need to keep all the cores alive in order for it to work and give you 100% when you game. But not unless you got them turned off. You know, you got it sleeping half the time on one side and the other side's not sleeping. So yeah, Soup, I do agree. Good warranty claim always works well for everybody. But some people it works out bad because they don't set their stuff up in a proper way. So, but guys, you got my 2 cents on it. Now you have my attention for the rest of the time. We got about maybe 34, 35 minutes. You guys got my attention now. Let's see what the chat's going to be talking about. And let's just talk about what we learned so far with this misconception. I'm going to say it's a misconception for the simple fact that they didn't report and say it wasn't ASRock. No, it was ASUS that had this problem. So that's what I'm looking at. them saying, you know, stoking up the fact and just doing it for clickbait. I didn't mean clickbait. I meant to get extra views. I got to learn how to, I really got to learn, some new lingo so that way I can get you guys' attention a little bit better. But, truthfully, guys, I would think if they made the article up, they should have put ASUS front and center on this, because they're the ones that the guy was claiming that their motherboard was having the problem. You can't blame the retailer for this. Retailer just sells whatever the company, sells them. Your distributors like, ASUS, MSI, Gigabyte, and ASRock, those are your distributors. They're the builders and distributors. So, and if they haven't ironed this problem out yet with the X3D cache and the X3D processors burning up, do you really think they're actually going to fix the problem in the future? That's where it becomes so funny. You really think they're going to fix the problem in the future? Nope. Hopes and dreams. That's all we got right now. Hopes and dreams. What do you think, Machine? Do we got hopes and dreams?
Well, I don't know. That whole thing with it's just weird. Is that all it said in the article?
Yeah, that's all it said, man.
There was no link to something else?
No.
Wow.
Not as far as I've seen. It was very vague. I mean, the article is very vague, man. That's why it didn't really make much sense to me, I brought up the story because I felt this was quite interesting, you know what I'm saying? And I felt that everybody, needed to know about what's going on, because I'm sure not everybody's aware of what's going on. But this story was kind of vague to me, and I had to bring it up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to send it in the general chat. Then you can see it. There's the article. I sent you the article. To me, it was very vague. Unless I missed something on it, but I don't think I did. I think I pretty much covered everything when it comes to that. So, I don't know. You guys tell me. I mean, you guys find something out there that's different than what I'm finding out right now. Let me know. But as far as it stands, these companies are just not looking out for the consumer now. They're not really looking out for that consumer. And they're going to stick
Read some of the comments on the bottom.
I did.
They're interesting.
Yeah, I read all that. Well, there's certain stuff. No, those comments I can't read, man. That's a part of their page, and that's something I can't read.
Okay.
But what I can read and what I can do is do this. I can take and copy the I'm just going to take and copy the article, and I'm going to put it into the chat, and I'll let you guys decide what you want to look at with the article. So you guys can gander yourself and tell me what your conclusions are. But my conclusion is this, is that AMD needs to get it back into collaboration with ASUS and the rest of the motherboard manufacturers and get this resolved. This X3D thing is becoming a real nuisance to some people because they got to turn around, and in order for them to get good silicon, they have to go through this torture of having to not have their brand new CPU work right. So then they have to send it back to the company. See, you're looking at about a 2-week transition. People are not going to be happy with companies if the company's making them wait 2 weeks to get their product. You know, getting their ducks in a row and getting the product where it needs to be. But obviously they don't care. Obviously that's what a lot of those big reviewers are saying. Right now they're just not really caring about the product. They just push it out there and say go with it. And if it burns up, they're claiming it's not their fault. It's so stupid, man. I mean, to me it's stupid. It's common sense all the way. If a consumer is complaining about a product and you're the business that's in the business of making that product and selling that product, then you're held accountable for that product. That's just my opinion. So, but I don't see anybody putting anything else in the comments either. I guess they're all just sitting by and waiting. Probably, kind of. But while you're sitting by and waiting, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And don't forget about the like button. Because if you don't turn on your notifications, you're never going to know when I post the next video. Keep that in mind. So, and as far as the 9950X3D, it could be a great CPU. That's if you find the right motherboard. And if you find the right RAM. And if you find the right SSDs. And if you find the right cooler for the CPU. All in combination together, you're going to need a fat power supply, at least 1,000 watts. Then when you get all done and you got your, let's say 5070 Ti, got everything all put together and it's all looking good, nothing's burning, then you're all set. You'll be rocking for the next 3 or 4 years. Just make sure you keep an eye on the dust every 3 months on your fans. If your fans look like they're getting loaded up with dust, then just clean it out. It's not hard. Just make sure you hold the fan blade when you're blowing the dust out of the fan, so this way the fan doesn't spin and cause a current to go through your motherboard, and poof, there goes your components, because your fan was spinning while you were cleaning. That's why I always tell everybody, disconnect your fans, because if you use a blowing air device on those fans and you spin them too hard, you're going to burn the fans up. Spinning them too hard with no power connected to them, you're gonna have issues. So keep that in mind too. Machine, you got anything you want to add to this, brother?
Nope, not really.
Boy, you sound grumpy tonight.
No, I'm good.
Okay. I was
I'm gonna eat my sandwich.
Oh, you're eating your sandwich and you don't want to be bothered. I got you.
I don't mind.
Well, you're eating your sandwich, you know. But, you know.
Yummy.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell everybody. I heard some good news for AMD. It seems in the market share, NVIDIA had 94%. AMD had 6%. And Intel didn't have anything. That's what I hear. But now, AMD's 6% went up to 8%. Nvidia lost 2% on the market share this week. Just to let you know. Looks like AMD did do something to get a little bit of that gain. Well, it was only 2%. And they were saying it's mostly generated from the 9070 and the 9070 XT. That's a lot of graphics cards for 2%. That's just my skimpy on it. So, I subscribed. Have a good one. Got to... Okay, well, you have a great sleep, Soup. Thank you for subscribing. We do appreciate it, and welcome to the family. So, you have a great sleep, and we will see you tomorrow. But all in all, guys, there really wasn't any bad news today, other than that minor little discrepancy that I thought it was a great story, truthfully, Machine. I really did.
Yeah, it was good.
I mean, it's something that, something that everybody has to need to hear, where the problem actually stems from and, which way this is going. So everybody needed to hear this. I mean, but at least it's isolated. You know what I mean? If it wasn't an isolated incident, then it would have been worldwide and it would have been a lot worse. But it's only a single isolated incident. So I can't really say either motherboard had an issue, but I know when Gamers Nexus fired up the 7950X3D or the 7800X3D and burned it right there on top of the motherboard. I mean, was that just isolated incident, or did they test a second CPU to check and make sure it's a non-isolated incident, that it's going to spread worldwide? You see what I'm saying? There's a difference between the drama and the truth. Because if you didn't follow up with the testing on the first one to the second one on the same motherboard, the same RAM and the same everything else, and you don't test that CPU the same way again, just tells me it's nothing but a story. So, that's just my opinion. Hello there, MTBK. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you, Dara D. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Welcome to the fam, of course. So, but guys, I can tell you this. Don't get upset because the CPU doesn't work like you want it to. Give it time for all the mess to be sorted out before you decide to dive into an X3D chip. Unless you do your homework and get some knowledge of what they can do for you, you need to work that out. Because if you don't know how to set up your BIOS of your motherboard, the BIOS of it, and you don't know how to fine-tune your CPU to keep it from having all these problems, and you just think it's plug and play, you're done, that's not so good with the $600 to $700 processor. Am I wrong, Machine?
Nope.
So, because system RAM speed is less important for X3D chips, I would go for DDR5. You would really go that low there, MTBK? You really don't have to. That's just the stepper of the motherboard. That doesn't mean you have to be there at the stepper of the motherboard. If you're thinking gear 1 is going to be at that at that megahertz, it's going to be at the same megahertz if you run 6,000 megahertz. It's still going to be at gear 1. Especially if you run in a lower clock latency, that would give you more of an advantage when it comes to gaming. So, you really think I'm worried about having an extra 64 megabytes of L cache compared to what I already have on the CPU right now? I'm not going to sweat it. It's not really anything worth sweating. I'd rather pay less of a price, get a better value, price to performance, than to buy something that's $600 or $700 that has doesn't mean anything, doesn't solve my problem. Especially when it doesn't have that much overclocking capability and headroom. So it is what it is. Right. I can agree about that, MTBK. Well, I kind of like doing when it comes to the motherboard, you have to understand, I like to push things. I like to see what I can push, what buttons I can turn. I just don't let everything on my motherboard sit stock, because you get nowhere with that. I want to know what its capabilities are. I want to know how far I can push it. And I want to know how far I can balance it. So once I got all that knowledge about a motherboard and everything that's on there, I can balance the whole thing, and it won't take long. Because I gained all this extra knowledge from working with the motherboard at hand, doing my research on everything that's inside the motherboard, getting it right, tuning it carefully, and end of the day, it's going to be running great. That's the whole idea of being an enthusiast, is to make it run pristine 100% with no issues. So, that's just my 2 cents on that, guys. So, I want to tell you like this. Right now I done said everything I needed to say for this evening. So, I hope everybody's having a great evening or great morning wherever you're located at. Oh, I got you there, MTBK, yeah. Yeah, it's good. Wait a little bit, to see what it's going to hold in store. We don't know if they're going to come out with DDR6 right away. That's another thing they're working on. DDR6. What if when it comes to the AM6 launch, what if they launch DDR6 and they have to put it on a whole new motherboard for AM6? What then? What are you going to do? That's going to be the question of what you can do. So, the heat is the reason I stayed away from the 5090. True. I got the 4070. I don't have to worry about all that extra heating and everything else. I stay with a CPU that's reasonable on the temperature. I stay with the GPU that's reasonable on the temperature, that it's not hitting the top of the moon and causing thermal throttling. Yeah, I'm happy with what I got in this PC right now. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years down the road in the future, the graphics card might change. But I can tell you the platform won't. It'll keep rocking for at least another 5 or 6 years. That's just estimated. It probably could, but we'll see. So, I always look at now and future. I'm not going to look at now and the past. Get you nowhere to keep looking in the past. Stop looking over you guys' shoulders and look forward to the future. Look at what you can achieve for the future. Something that's going to carry you 5 years or even more. Look forward to the future. But looking in the past, buying all the past stuff is just not, it's nonsense now. Now you're at the point to where you're going to put your big boy pants on. You're going to take and get yourself a decent PC for $1,500, and you're just going to put it together right, and you're just going to slam it in there, and you're going to make it glow like never it's ever glowed before in total RGB, which equals speed, by the way. So, faster your RGB is, the faster it goes.
The more lights, the faster your...
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, buddy.
Yep.
Oh, I don't blame you, Cyborg. Yeah, a lot of people say that. Yeah, stay away from the 5090. Yeah. Not unless you want your house to burn down. Don't you think it being in a metal case with a fish tank look that it actually has some kind of protection for your house? I'm kind of thinking about that machine, you know.
All you have to do is submerge it in that, whatever that water stuff is. You don't have to worry about fire.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of yawning. It's kind of getting about that time. So, yeah, that's all good. That's all good there, Darity. That's all good. But what's even going to be even better, guys, is that it's getting late in the evening, and I've said what I had to say, and I'm not going to keep you guys on the hook because there's no sense. So if you got any questions, go ahead and voice your questions and concerns right now. I'll give you about 5 more minutes, and then we're going to close out the stream and call it a day. So if you got something you want to mention or a question you wanted to ask, I would do it right now so that way you can get it in there, and so that way I can answer it real quick for you. So, I give you guys that couple minutes to do that. And while I'm waiting to see if they got a question there, Mr. Machine, how did your night go as usual?
Yeah, it's work. Sunday.
Was it good, bad, or ugly, or?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I do have a question for Dare D, though.
Go ahead, my friend.
Did you end up getting the 5080, Dare D? Curious how that performs. What do you think about it for the price? Wonder how much heat that produces. Did you like the 5080?
Well, let's hope if you got a 5080, you like the 5080, at least.
I don't think that $1,000 for that card
No, because if you look at the 4080 Super, you know, it's right around the same price anyway. So what's the difference? Difference is the software and a little bit more cores here and there. But the connector's the same. Ain't no shame in NVIDIA's game. So.
Yeah, I almost bought one when they first came out.
I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of the FE model. The Founders Edition model, I'm not a fan of it. Especially blow-through cooler like that. I would rather have an OC AIB partner card. That's just my opinion. You guys choose what you love, but I just tell you what I love. You know. So. Nice. Nice. That'll definitely take care of your business. That's for sure. That'll definitely take care of that business for sure. And Cyborg, how's my adventure game going? I don't know. I don't think I've did anything just yet on it, so I'll get back to you on it. I'm not sure just yet, but I'll get back to you on it. Just to let you know that. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. If that's what you want and you love it, hey, rock with it. Just remember one thing with those blow through cards when it comes to the heat. Make sure you got I'm not going to mention anything, but just make sure your CPU is not overheating, because that would cause a condition of your CPU overheating, and then you're going to need some kind of like shield or something to shield it away from that. But be very careful what you put there, as you don't want to short circuit anything. So just keep it real. So I just let you guys know my 2 cents on it. Founders Edition cards are not really my bag. So, but anyway. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and call it quits right here. And I do appreciate everybody that's done join the live chat this evening. And I want to thank all the new subscribers. Welcome to the family. Welcome, and hopefully you enjoy your time here. And also to Mr. Machine, it's good to see you this evening. We'll be talking a little bit more after the live stream. So, do you want
later?
Yeah, you go ahead and tell them good evening and whatever you want to tell them.
Well, it's nice for y'all to be here. Derek D, nice of you to join.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. We do these a lot, so come on. It's kind of open discussion about anything computer-wise. So if you got a question, even if it's off topic, about anything relating to the top, to computers or gaming of any particular, just go ahead and throw it out there, and we can always stop what we're doing to do it.
Yep, pretty much.
So not a big deal.
Sorry, guys. But anyway, guys, let's just get down to the brass tacks. If this is, well, probably is, if you're viewing this live stream and you enjoyed it, then hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Don't forget about the notification bell so you know when I post the next video. Until the next time, guys, and the next video, you know it is, and we'll see you on the next video.